everybody, it's Misty from the Suburban Edge, and we are scrambling to get our garlic planted. It does this thing around here where it rains for 10 days and then you have 2 days of nice, and no matter what you have planned, you better get your garlic in. So we are working on planting garlic. This is my new planter box that Mark made me. I'm really excited about it. It's super deep, so we put a layer of just interior grade wood that we had sitting around rotting. So we put that there, and then we have some bark and some other bits of wood that we're just gonna put in. The little chips of wood will still drain, it will retain water, but I don't have to fill this whole thing with dirt. Then what I'm going to do is amend my soil. We've got some 4-way mix. We need to put some worm castings in. So let's get started. We've got a lot of work to do, and it is cold out here. We've got some bark. I'm not sure I'm going to use that, but we also have all these little pieces of lumber. So I'm just going to kind of, I'm probably going to throw the bark in. It's going to take longer to degrade, but I got a lot of space in there, so I'm just gonna do that real quick. I'm down here.
You want it all in here, Misty?
Yeah, please. I have such a great husband. Thank you, Marky.
You're welcome.
Normally I wouldn't put that much wood in if it was like big chunks, but these are like little tiny pieces, so I think that it's going to drain great and it'll just provide a nice platform for the dirt, and I won't have to fill up the whole thing. Let me show you what we got. See, it looks like a lot, but it's still not even halfway up. Now I'm going to start amending the dirt. This is last year's garlic bed. Right now it has a whole bunch of little sprouts. I'm going to weed that out. I'm going to pull the dirt out and add nutrients to this dirt, fluff it up. I'm pretty sure you don't want to watch me pull weeds. So once I get the weeds pulled, we'll do the next step. Okay, I got all the weeds out, and now I'm just going to get all this dirt out into this wheelbarrow. There's another weed. Okay, so I didn't need to take out all the dirt, obviously. Garlic doesn't need to go any deeper than this. So I pulled out dirt. I'm going to leave this dirt. I'm going to amend the dirt I pulled out with fresh 4-way dirt, 10-10-10, and some worm castings, and then we're going to put it all back in. Yay. You need to do it, though, because when you plant things in a container, you need to refresh your dirt every year. If you're serious, you should have fresh dirt. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna make this dirt I pulled out fresh. Okay, so you can see like the difference, right? This really dark soil is my new 4-way that we got, and this is the soil I pulled out. So I'm going to combine these and mix in some worm compost and some 10-10-10, and it's just regular 10-10-10, you know, like you don't need to get fancy. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. I've been mixing and mixing, and it looks like the old dirt's fairly well integrated into the new dirt, and I'm just gonna put some worm castings in there, mix that up. Seriously, the cool thing about worm compost or worm castings is that you can put in a ton, you can put in a little, whatever you do will help your soil, and you can't burn your plant. Got a big bucket right here. It looks like dirt, but it's worm poop. It's worm poop. But it gives a lot of nutrients to soil, also attracts worms, which you want in your soil. This is how much I have left, and I need to put it in all my beds, so I'm going to sprinkle some, but I'm also going to put some regular 10-10-10 in there. I think I said that about 5 times, so if this is getting annoying, I'm sorry. You think you have enough worm poop, and then you realize you don't. It's weird. Do you have that problem? Yeah? So for this big double wheelbarrow, I put in about 2 cups, and I'm just gonna blend that in. But before I do that, I'm going to put my 10-10-10 in. If I was broadcasting this, this says that it's supposed to be 1.5 cups for 50 square feet. That's not 50 square feet. So I'm just going to mix in about 2/3 of a cup and see how I like it. I may put more in. So I'm going to mix that all in. It's going to rain, so I don't want to put so much 10-10-10 in just to have it wash through. This is just to help the soil have some nutrients. Well, I'm liking the looks of my dirt. I'm going to go ahead and load it in. Look at the difference between that dirt and this dirt. That's depleted, enriched. I'm excited. It's one step closer. There's nothing more beautiful. Okay, the only thing more beautiful than a fully prepared planting bed is when you see those garlic shoots poking up in the spring. Now, where I live, the ideal time to plant garlic is between like Halloween and November 15th. You need to check for yours, but what you really want to do is get your garlic in the ground before that first hard frost. Garlic does really well if it's allowed to get super cold. Now, I do know that there are tricks about putting your garlic in the fridge for 3 weeks before you plant it if you live in a temperate climate. I'm going to show you the bed I'm doing, and then I'm going to move on to the other bed. Pretty sure you don't need to watch that. We're running out of daylight today, so tomorrow I'm going to be ripping up some flower beds, amending that soil, just getting everything ready. Check this out. I'll be able to put my garlic in here in this nice, beautiful, rich, amended soil, and I still have about 3 inches to put mulch on the top. I like to use my old straw bales from the garden because there's a lot of great stuff happening there, and it works wonderfully. It's like a great byproduct to straw bale gardening. See you in about 2 seconds, because that's what it'll feel like for you. This next day, we're still working on garlic planting. We did get the second bed filled. Yay! I'm going to prep a few more beds that were flower beds last year that I'm going to turn into garlic beds. And why such a dedication to garlic? Well, if you know me, you know I really like to experiment and find out what works best for us. If you watched my garlic harvesting, you'll see that I got some fairly good sized garlic, but I also got some little garlic. Didn't work very well here. So I got busy and I ordered from a bunch of different places, and I wanted to show you what I got and what I learned so far, and I haven't even planted yet. That's a lot of different garlic. Here's my music garlic that I grew, that I saved to replant. I also purchased some music from Territorial Garlic. Look how big these cloves are compared to mine. About the same, a little bit bigger. I wanted to try some other different kinds. I got some Uzbekistan garlic from Territorials. This is called Enchilium Red. Nice and big. I don't know why it's called a red, but we'll give that a shot. I got 2 different brands. This is from Keen Garlic. Look at the size of their garlic heads. They're huge. This is called the Early Italian Softneck. And also from M.I. Gardner, I got the Early Italian Softneck. Let's compare those. The Keen is huge. Then also from Keen, I got some Korean red. They call the Wisconsin because I guess it has sort of become a little bit different, like a hybridization from the actual traditional Korean red. But what I want to show you is just the size of the bulb. Now let's compare that back to my original music, which is still a pretty good sized bulb. I mean, look at my palm, right? That's a monster. Huge. And then the last one I got is called Chesnick Red from M.I. Gardner. Not bad. Pretty good size. About the same size as my music. Another hardneck. And that's from M.I. Gardner. That's a lot of garlic. And I'm not affiliated with any of these companies. But I will tell you, when I looked at the Keen garlic versus pretty much all the other garlics, it was like at least half as bigger. Half as much bigger? Is that what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So I wanted to know why. Why is their garlic so huge? And so I went to their website. And they do a soak, a fertilizer soak. And if you remember from I keep referring to that, so I'm going to pin it at the end. You better watch it so you know what I'm talking about. If you remember that, I told you that I didn't know I was supposed to fertilize when I planted it. I'm going to do what Keen recommends, and that is to do a soak before you plant it. It's not mandatory. You'll still get good garlic. I got good garlic, but I want big garlic and I want successful garlic, and I want to find the garlic that really grows well here. That being said, I have a ton of garlic here. I have finite space. Now the ultimate spacing, like you really want to shoot for 6 inches or more. 4 is the absolute minimum. I have different shaped containers. I have different shaped beds. So what I need to do first is determine how far apart I want to grow my garlic, which is 6 inches. And I need to determine how much garlic I can put in each space, because once you soak the garlic in a fertilizer soak, you have to plant it. So I need to be ready to plant whatever garlic I'm soaking, but I might as well get my garlic soaking before I prep the rest of my beds, because you want to soak for at least 30 minutes to 24 hours. And Keen Garlic says that they have actually left it in the fertilizer soak for up to 3 days, but after that it's pretty fragile. I'll definitely have 30 minutes. It's one of the last really nice days before a rainy spell hits us. I'm pretty determined to get my garlic in the ground today if possible. If not, early tomorrow morning. That'd be fine because it's going to be soaking. Before I soak, I need to determine how much of this garlic I can actually put in the ground. There's no point in soaking it if it's something I can just take in the house and eat if I have purchased too much. Or to do that, I need to kind of measure out my beds and see how much garlic can go in each bed. I have this piece of wood. It's about 6 inches long, and I marked the 4-inch length. And that's because I have this odd shaped container, and last year I put 4 rows in, and I realized that's probably too many. So I want to see what 4 inches from the edge looks like, and if I can get 2 rows with a 4-inch border. Now I'm going to do the same thing in the new raised bed. See how many plants I can get in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It'll be a little less than 6 inches apart with a 4-inch border on each side, roughly. I can get 55 plants in my new raised bed. I just measured this bed I'm standing in, and it's not a perfect rectangle, and it has rounded corners. It has the support posts and, issues with this deck, but with some creative angling, I could get 145 to 150 plants in this bed. It's bigger than I thought. I'm going to measure the other one. Okay, this bed here is also going to be a garlic bed. It used to be my sunflower bed, but I am dedicating pretty much a lot of the garden to garlic this summer because of my experiment. There is a privet hedge here that's going to stay, and I'll be cleaning this out as soon as I get the garlic soaking, but I might as well measure it while I'm in the business. Then we'll know how much garlic to soak. So that one was 3 rows by 18, another 54 plants. Now I gotta go back and count cloves and figure out roughly where I'm gonna plant everything. So you don't have to watch me. I'll come back and tell you what I'm gonna do. I think I got it all figured out. I know where all the garlic is gonna go based on what kind of space I have. And it's freezing out here, so I'm going to head inside for the next steps. It's not going to be picturesque like, my ladder and my fall yard waste, but hey, I'll be warmer, and that's really what matters to me right now. Meet you inside. I'm in the shop because, like I said, it's really cold out there, and there's no reason to separate all the cloves in the freezing cold. Now, you're not going to have the same problem I have where I have many different types and brands of garlic that I'm trying to keep separate. You could probably just go for it, but I have to peel mine, count them out, and make sure they stay labeled and in their little group. So that's what I'm going to proceed to do now. All I did was get some scratch paper and write the name, where I got it, and how many I need of each. So I'm just going to start busting them open. I want to save these mesh bags, that if they came in a mesh bag, I want to save them so that I can keep my cloves separate when I go to soak. Now I'm going to tell you what I heard from Keen, from their website, is that when you separate the cloves, it doesn't matter if the wrapper comes off the clove. They have planted thousands and thousands of garlics for sale, because that's what they do. They sell seed garlic, and they don't have a problem if the wrapper comes off. I've always been told you must keep the wrapper on. If the wrapper does not stay on, you cannot plant that garlic. Now they tell me the exact opposite, and they grow really big garlic. So I'm kind of going to trust them. Look at the size of that one clove of garlic. So on one hand, this all came out of the same head of garlic. So like these are huge, right? And these are just regular size. I'm gonna, since I have a whole nother head I can open, I'm just gonna only plant the big guys, and I will just plan on eating these. We eat a lot of garlic, so that's gonna be fine. Okay, I did the music garlic. This is like one of the largest cloves that I grew, and this is like the standard size that I got from Territorial Garlic. So obviously I can do better. That's why I'm planting both my biggest cloves and they're just average size cloves. I want to see how I can improve, but obviously there is room for improvement in my garlic gardening. So when I was doing the Keen Inchalium Red, it's a soft neck garlic, I didn't quite have 30 cloves. I got 29 because some of the cloves were soft and not good. So you only want to use garlic cloves that are really firm and, you know, they look like they're in the best of robust health. I don't want to plant already bad garlic. So I had to throw quite a few away. We'll see. Maybe this soft neck is not a very good keeper, or maybe it just didn't travel well from Wisconsin here. I don't know. But we're still going to plant it, and 29 is pretty close to 30 if I'm doing my math right. I'm not going to cry about it. Okay, I got all of the garlic peeled. That was a fun adventure, and it was fun to see all the different colors, shapes, sizes. I'm really excited about next summer when we start harvesting garlic and I can show you the different kinds of garlic. I mean, some of them are early harvesters, some are mid, some are late. So it's going to be a process, and you'll get to see each individual one or groups of garlic as they get harvested and how I did. What I'm going to do next is give them a 10-minute soak in a sterilizing solution. I don't want to do each batch individually, so what I did was I made a label. I tested this label in, we're using hydrogen peroxide for 10 minutes, and the label made it through just fine. So I'm putting each individual one in its own mesh bag with its own label so I can just soak them for 10 minutes all at once. I got 4 of these bags ready, and while I'm getting the other 5 ready, I might as well have these soaking for 10 minutes in my hydrogen peroxide solution. You can use vodka, you can use anything that sterilizes that's basically food safe. Garlic has a lot of natural stuff, funguses and weird stuff that can happen to garlic, and it's a good idea to sterilize them before you plant them. It's an option. You don't have to do it. I'm trying to up my garlic game, so yeah, of course I'm going to do that. So I have my little bags all labeled and ready to go. I'm just going to pop them in this solution. That's it. Start your timer for 10 minutes, and when they're done, you pull them out. 10 minutes is up. I've rigged up a little, this is a bunk bed basket that Gracie had, but I couldn't figure out how to throw it away. So I'm repurposing this as an outdoor colander. Kind of works really great. And I'm just going to bring my sanitized bags out. They can drain while I'm sanitizing the other batches. See? All right. So those are going to drip while the first batch is in my makeshift outdoor colander, which I just love. I'm going to put the other 5 bags in the hydrogen peroxide solution for 10 minutes, which will give me enough time to whip up a batch of fish emulsion fertilizer, but all the bags can go in there. They can stay there for 30 minutes up to 3 days. I don't think I'm going to need 3 days. I think I'm going to finish getting my beds ready today, and then tomorrow morning, bright and early, rain or shine, I am going to plant that garlic. Everything's been sanitized, and now it's ready to make a big old bucket of stinky fish fertilizer. I got a helper out here, so I'm going to film while Mark does this. We're making a 5-gallon bucket of fertilizer. It doesn't matter what fertilizer you use. I just happen to like this Alaska fish emulsion fertilizer. Say hi, Marky. Yeah, that's what I'm using. And it's perfect for what we're doing. So Mark's gonna shake it up and he's gonna put a cup in there for me. Hey Mark, this smells really bad. You're gonna regret helping me. In 5, 4.
Well, look at this thing sealed on.
All right, in about 20 minutes when you get that open. Don't smell it.
Man. All right. Where do you want it?
Just under like the 1 cup measurement. So right there. Don't smell.
Yummy. Wow, the wind's blowing so.
Oh, it's blowing towards me. Yeah, it's really thick. That's how you know it's good. It's like a milkshake. Want to taste it? Okay, dump it in the bucket. Isn't that appetizing, everyone? Okay, now we're just going to fill the bucket up with water, and that's going to be our fish emulsion fertilizer. Thank you, Marky. So now it's just a matter of putting your sanitized garlic in the solution. If you're only growing one kind of garlic, you don't have to mess with all the bags, but I am, doing the thing I'm doing. And I'm going to find something to kind of poke those down with. And then they can just sit there while I'm preparing the beds. It is really smelly, so I'm sad that it smells this bad, but it's for the greater good. We're on day 3. This is supposed to be the last day before it rains for another week. I am really close to getting the garlic planted. A couple things I wanted to talk about was baking soda, any brand. I forgot to show you this, but when you make your fertilizer in your 5-gallon bucket or whatever size, you want to put a teaspoon of baking soda per gallon of fertilizer in with your garlic. And I forgot to show you, so do that. It did happen. The next thing is, why am I working so hard to make an already perfectly good bed fluffy and fertilized? Why? Well, garlic does not like to be constricted. If you want your garlic to grow as big as possible, you want your soil at least 4 to 6 inches down to be loose and fluffy so that those roots can go down and those bulbs can expand. If you have compacted dirt, your bulbs are just not going to do as well. Now, as you know from watching this video to this point, I want the biggest bulbs I possibly can. Garlic is very susceptible to rot, which is why you want a very fertile, very loose, very well-draining soil. You want to give your garlic the best possible advantage. Let's talk about the 2 true garlic types. I'm not going to talk about elephant garlic. It's not really garlic. It's a leek. I love how big it is, but I don't enjoy the flavor because to me it's too mild. There are 2 types of true garlic. There's soft neck, which is what you usually see in the grocery store, and then there's hard neck, and it has a really hard, almost unbreakable stem that comes out the middle, and that's where you're going to get your garlic scapes. If you're not sure about that, I've got some videos on how to harvest and enjoy garlic scapes. I enjoy hard neck. I'm told time and time again that for my area I should be planting soft neck, but last year I had way better luck planting hard neck. Now we'll see, as I'm planting a bazillion different kinds. Well, I'm planting many different kinds. We'll see what works best and in what environment. I have 2 raised beds and I have some in-ground beds, and I'm just doing a little test to see what works best for me. And I'm not going to let somebody else dictate what works best for me because there are microclimates all over the world, and I just might be better at growing hard neck garlic. And I love those scapes, so I'm a big fan of the hard neck garlic. Now I've heard that hardneck garlic doesn't last quite as long as softneck. That's why you mostly see the softneck in the grocery store. Let's talk a little bit about the anatomy of garlic. I opened this one because you want to plant the biggest cloves that you possibly can. I mean, you can plant tiny cloves, but the size of the clove that you plant is going to be the size of the, proportionate to the size of the garlic head that you get. This is called a garlic clove. This is a head of garlic, okay? That's our terminology. When you plant a single clove of garlic, this has the potential to grow an entire head. The bigger the clove, the bigger the head of garlic, which means that next year, if your garlic heads are nice and big, you have your own seed stock and you shouldn't have to go keep buying seed stock. Now, if you have wimpy garlic like I got, of course, I went out and bought some seed stock because I want my cloves to be as big as humanly possible, right? Or as big as garlically possible. Okay, so that's a clove. This is called, where the roots are, the basal plates. And inside this head, every single clove of garlic is attached, see that right there? To the basal plates. When you plant these, you want to plant them basal plate side down or pointy end up. This is where the roots are going to grow, and this is going to split and divide and make a whole head of garlic. I hope that helps. That's my garlic lesson for today. I'm going to turn off the camera and continue hoeing in my lovely 4-way, my worm castings, and my 10-10-10. I want these beds ready to go because I'm ready to plant garlic. Are you with me? Okay, not right now because I'm about to turn you off. I have 3 of my 4 beds dug in. I'm not sure if I'm going to need the 4th bed, so I'm going to plant. Now you want to make sure you're not planting too early. Your garlic will grow, but you don't want it to grow so much before the first frost because it causes the garlic to struggle. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out my holes. I'm going to do that with my handy little block of wood, being careful not to compress. And I did compress when I was measuring, so I'm just going to go through here, fluff this up real quick, and then we will get planting. This bed holds about 55 plants, and that's with a 6-inch spacing. Now last year I did 3 to 3.5 inches. I went back and looked at my notes. They were crowded. I got a lot more plants in, but I didn't get very big yield. I'm more interested in quality over quantity. It's very hard to deal with a tiny head of garlic when you're trying to cook. I want those big cloves. So I'm going to give them a full 6 inches with 4-inch border around the sides. So I'm just going to mark that 4-inch border with this tool. This is actually an edging tool, but it has this really cool furrowing point on it. See that? That makes great little rows. It's also a really great edger, and you can cut roots with it. This is a great tool. Or you can use something like it, but that's what I have, so that's what I'm going to use. You want to plant your garlic about 1.5 inches down. If you have a trowel with measurements, that makes your life very easy. And obviously, if the garlic's a little bit bigger, you're just going to have to go down a little bit. But I'm going to make little holes, 6 inches apart, 1.5 inches deep. Time to go get that stuff out of that stinky fertilizer. So one thing is, you don't want to plant a bulb and then cover it up. You want to put all your cloves in at the same time and then cover them in. The reason is you're going to forget where you planted those garlic cloves the minute you cover them up. I've laid it out really orderly. I have all my holes poked. I'm just going to put each garlic in where I want to. My music. You want to keep that little pointy tip just sticking out of the ground. I'm not covering them. I'm going to plant the other side because I will forget. It already looks so good. They're all in. I'm just going to cover them up. I'm being careful not to compress the soil. Some of the bigger ones need to go down just a little bit, but this is where you would figure that out. The next step is optional, but I highly recommend it. We're going to put about 3 inches or more of mulch on here. Now, you don't have to mulch, but why you would want to mulch, especially for garlic, is we're about to get some rain, heavy November rain. If I don't mulch this, that rain is going to compact the soil that I've spent the last 3 days fluffing up. And I don't want that. That was a lot of work. I'm going to bust open some of this year's straw bales, and I'm just going to spread those straw bales over this, and it'll be done and ready to go. I can choose to give it a sprinkling of water, but I'm looking at the sky. I think it's going to rain this afternoon. So I'm not going to water it. Garlic is very susceptible to rot, and I am not concerned that it's not going to get enough water, right? Once you plant it wherever you are, you do want to give it one water. You want to fertilize it, which I did by soaking. And then you just pretty much, that's the last watering it's going to need until the spring. Okay? So I'm never going to water this until springtime comes, and only when the soil is dry. I don't know if you noticed, but there is no irrigation system in either bed. The other bed, the irrigation system was removed because garlic doesn't like wet feet. So you really only want to water on demand. What I have here is a mix of, not this past summer, but the summer before's straw bales, and a brand new bale that broke open that has just been sitting around in the weather. This stuff is wet and compacted, so I'm going to need to fluff it up really well before I use it as a mulch, but it's going to make a great mulch. So I'm just going to get to work because those rain clouds are scaring me. Got the job done. I'm going to go ahead and plant all the rest of my garlic. Did I mention it's the last day of October and it is so cold outside I can barely feel my dirty little fingers. But I got the last bed of garlic planted. All I have to do is mulch it. Then I can go in and have a nice cup of tea. I've earned it. In this bed, I have 5 different types of garlic. And I didn't need to do the far sunflower bed, so my plan is to just dig that all in, all that good dirt in, and put a layer of mulch over the top, and it will be ready to go for spring. So, you know, it's not like it was wasted work. Hey, this is going to be so cool. This is all going to be popping up with garlic in the spring. That's it for me for today. That was a lot. That was a 3-day film festival. All that hard work is over. I'm going to put mulch down, and this is where I say thank you for joining me on the Suburban Edge. It's fun to share information. It's so cold, my hand is shaking, so I'm sorry if the camera's not very steady. If you like this content, would you please consider subscribing and hit the like button? That makes a huge difference, and it takes no time. So, you know, watch some of those. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye.